We were watching the back of our eyelids.
That is 100% true.
You had to be up early. I'll put it at that. All right, Dr. Navarro, let's talk a little bit more about what could come for a place like Atlanta or the South. A good soaking rain that's needed.
Yeah, Mike, this could be a pretty substantial rainfall coming for areas in the southeast. Potentially some very heavy rain at times with this low pressure system that's developing as it moves its way up the east coast. It'll continue to do so into the early part of next week. But in the meantime, we could be seeing 1 to 2 inches of rain here during the weekend. This is Saturday night now into Sunday. So again, beneficial rain for this area, but a lot of it coming down at once is never a good thing. And we do stand the chance of potentially things maybe overproducing a little bit because we have that development of the system going on.
We have, for a while now, we've not really talked a ton about severe weather. This is an area that would typically see severe weather in the wintertime of any place in the country. That's not necessarily in the cards with this either, just a beneficial rain, hopefully.
Yeah, I think that's really the best of the best. If we can keep those totals maybe reduced or spread out over long periods of time, this is a good system, a good soaking rain, because no severe, we're not expecting, you know, those heavy totals. But again, this will be welcome heading into the early part of next week. We could use a few more systems to help reduce that drought.
You don't think flooding is going to be much of an issue either?
I don't think it'll be the biggest big issue with this one.
All right, Dr. Navarro, thank you. Alex?
Good stuff. All right.
I want to go over to Dr. Navarro and talk about what you refer to here as the Goldilocks trough for February winter storm.
Yeah, because it just looks like things are setting up just right, that we could get that potential for the big February snowstorms that we often talk about, even without the big blocking high to the northeast. So how does this all set up? Well, this is the pattern we look like we're going into, with a big dip in the jet stream here draped over the east coast. This will draw down the cold air, you know, right down all the way to the panhandle of Florida, and all we need is a storm to develop right here along the Baroclinic zone, because that, we get a coastal storm, it rides up the coast. But if this shifts just a little bit left or right, totally different story. So if that trough were shifted a little bit farther west here, that would keep all the cold air over the northern plains, maybe even sneaking down towards Oklahoma and Texas. And then on this side, for the east coast, this would allow warm, moist air to be drawn up from the Gulf of Mexico, which may potentially lead to more severe weather as opposed to snowfall. So no snowfall here on the east coast under that situation. But if, say, the trough maybe shifted a little bit farther to the east, that would mean we would have a blocking high pressure here over much of the southeast and the east coast, which would mean that would shut down all our attempts for precipitation here, because all the lows would ride this system and then basically go out to sea. So, Tom, we wouldn't see anything under this scenario.
So this is what we're looking for, and this is setting up nicely. The only thing we don't have here is we don't have that big blocking high up here, which would slow these systems down and intensify them enough to produce a prolonged period of snow. But it's still very favorable for maybe a quicker moving system that still could produce a blockbuster storm.
Yeah,
right?
no, absolutely, because all we would need is that coastal system, that low pressure to come up the coast, and temperatures just have to be cold enough, right?
Just cold enough,
yeah,
right.
Doesn't have to be, you know, those really, really frigid temperatures like 10s and 20s. All we need is temperatures around 32 and a little bit of precipitation.
Yeah, you need the right ingredients, but as you're showing, it really all has to come together to get that perfect scenario.
Yeah, there's a lot that does have to come together. We look at the weekend.